I had just finished performing a traditional Indian dance at my school, and I was feeling like a princess. Now, all I wanted was a cup of frozen yogurt with gummy bears and cookies on top. So I made my way over to Yogurtland, and when I opened the door, along with the rush of cool air hitting me, so did everyone's stares. Was my salwar undone? Was my makeup smeared? I was confused. But soon, I was interrupted by a lady who tapped my shoulder and asked,
"Where are you from?"
"I'm from San Diego."
No, actually, where are you from?
"Well, I was born in the Bay Area, but that still means I'm from California."
You look Asian. Indian?
"Yeah, I'm Indian, but I'm also American."
Well, you can't be both.
"What? Who was she to tell me that I couldn't be both Indian and American? It seemed like she was invalidating part of my identity, something so important to me. She just put a label on me. But here's the thing. Everyone does it. She's not the only one. Think about it. The minute we are born, we already possess two labels, our biological sex and our name. So it seems natural to go throughout life labeling ourselves and others around us. How many of you have labeled yourself or someone around you? So I'm not the only one. But sometimes when we label ourselves and others, we get stuck. I love dancing. Hip-hop is one of my greatest passions. I've been doing it for so many years now. A couple of years ago, I joined a dance studio where the definition of a good dancer was dancing ballet. Hip-hop and ballet are so different. So I didn't think I was a good dancer. I doubted my style, and I tried to mold my body and my style to what a good dancer was supposed to be. So then I realized that because I was molding my style to someone else's standards and was just dancing to get validation from other people, I was beginning to lose my love of dance. That was one of the many effects that labels can have. So why do we label? We label to feel comfortable, to feel safe, like we know where we belong. As in, okay, I know who I am, I know who you are. We both know how to act around each other and what to expect from each other.
I have always considered myself an athlete. Since I was 3 years old, my mom put me in Danish football, soccer, swimming, gymnastics, water polo, you name it, I've done it. I was considered Tosh the athlete. And then 3 years ago, I dislocated and fractured my kneecap, and it was the worst experience of my life. Not only was my identity taken away from me, but I also had others doubting me. During one particular physical therapy session, when I was learning how to walk again, one of my trainers turned to me and said,
"Tosh, are you sure you want to keep going?"
"Yeah, nothing's hurting."
No, I mean, do you still want to keep coming to physical therapy? You're not making much progress, and at this rate, who knows if you'll ever become an athlete again?
For the past 2 years, I had been going to physical therapy 4 times a week and had probably done about 2,000 lunges. The last thing I needed to hear was somebody tell me what I could and could not do. But the thing that really got me scared was that she was potentially confirming my greatest fear. Who was I if I wasn't Tosh the athlete? When the one thing that I defined myself by, which was sports, was taken away from me, I had literally no idea who I was anymore.
So whether it's the labels we put on ourselves or the labels that others impose on us, we acknowledge that they're coming from a place of wanting to feel safe and comfortable, but really what they're doing is driving us apart from each other and not allowing us to get to know who we are.
We are both in high school, we know how this works. High school is the breeding ground for labeling people and defining each other's self-worth. She's the pretty one, he's the jock, they're the smart ones, the list goes on and on. And it's not only in high school where we start to label ourselves, but it's also where we start to label each other. For example, I'm not good at lacrosse, but I like English. I'm not very artistic, but I like to play the cello. I don't like math, but I'm good at science. We know that we can't make everyone here in the audience not label each other or even themselves, but we will ask you to do one thing. Do more learning and less labeling.
So take the example of the lady at the yogurt shop. What if she had opted to learn instead of label? What if she had asked me about my clothing or expressed interest in my heritage? We would have both walked away feeling like we had learned something from each other. And I know to not have one term to describe how you feel or what you look like makes people uneasy. But knowledge is power. The more you know, the less likely you will label other people and label yourself. With this vision in mind, and in an effort to minimize labeling, I created a project called Banking on Teens, and the project brings financial concepts to middle schoolers, and my effort with this project is to take the label off of youth being financially inept. So many people think that, and my goal with this project is to take the knowledge that they receive and use that power to break off from this label.
I still consider myself an athlete, but going through the experience of having my athletic pursuits stripped of me really challenged me to think about who I was beyond the Tosh, the athlete label. I really had to figure out who I was and what I liked to do. And one of the biggest things that I learned was that I wanted to help people who felt lonely, depressed, unworthy, things that I'd felt when I went through my knee experience. And so I started my own enterprise called Silent Stories. Silent Stories brings art workshops to senior centers, places where seniors feel neglected, alone, they don't have family, and we do this so that they will feel loved, valued, and heard. And I think we should all do this. We should all really figure out who we are beyond the labels that those have put on us and that we have put on ourselves.
We have the power to define ourselves. What other people tell us we are, we don't have to be that. Labels are constantly changing. They never stick. So it's up to us to figure out how we want to be labeled and how we can push beyond those labels.
And we know this is challenging in high school. It's like once you get a label, then you get a squad, and then you start to belong.
But let's talk about belonging. When did belonging ever mean that you have to belong to one group, one category, with one person? Let's talk about nature. There are tons of things in nature that break the binary. Take a coconut. Its outside appearance is hard and sturdy, but its inside is soft. Take elephants. They look like powerful, intimidating animals, yet they're proven to be sensitive and compassionate and kind towards one another. So let's take a cue from nature, and let's try to break the binary of how we perceive ourselves versus how people perceive us.
Let's resist the need to label and dial up on the learning, because once we start to learn, then we get a greater understanding of ourselves and the people around us, and we also gain a deeper understanding of what it means to belong.
We're in high school and throughout life, people will always be labeling us and have different opinions about us, but it's up to us to figure out how we want to portray ourselves and push through those labels.
My name is Natasha.
And my name is Manali.
I'm more than just an athlete.
And I'm more than just Indian American. Thank you.